and welcome back to my channel. I am Shamily and today we are meeting again for a new video. Today I'm gonna be designing a sunken forest slash waterfall. It's a bit in the middle, or I don't know the difference between the concept, I think. So as usual, I'm showing you the zone where I'm gonna be working, but just let's dive into it. It's gonna be mainly terraforming for this build, not a lot of decor, maybe a lot of plant, normal kind of plants, but a lot of terraforming. So the first thing I'm gonna be doing is design the border of my cliff where the waterfalls will be floating into the river slash lake, or I don't know how to call it. So that is what I'm doing, layering the cliffs, I guess. As I was mentioning you in my last video where I designed my shopping district, I was imagining the Able sister doing their sewing and clothes with like a view to something beautiful, and that's something beautiful. I wanted it to be very natural, of course, and that is why I went for this sunken forest waterfall theme, because I think indeed it's gonna be a beautiful view, and I was really in love with what I saw in the end, so I was really proud of myself. Also because I usually am not a big terraformer. Since I started those YouTube videos, I also took the challenge to terraform more, but on my previous island I used mainly the cliffs that were there, and then I did a bit of jobs here and there. But yeah, I was not a terraformer, so this is also a challenge for me. And I skipped a lot in the video because, first of all, I was again super clumsy in my aiming, and also because it's a lot of waterscaping with a lot of, just digging water all the time. I tried to stop like my cutting and show you what was interesting, especially when I was doing like some hop islands, as I'm still calling it, and some bigger platform. If I have an advice for you, if you want to also do something like that, it's that you always have to leave you some kind of way to come back in the middle of your water. So the hop island are super handy for those kind of builds. I did not leave enough, and at one point I was stuck in the middle of water, and I had to call I forgot I was like in waterscaping mode, so I had to call the urgency service because I was stuck. But it's also avoiding for you that you just terraform and waterscape again what you just did because you are just stuck in the middle of water, or because you need to modify something in the water and then it's too difficult to access, so you have to redo everything. So that is an advice. If you want to do this kind of job, leave a lot of hop island for you to go back in the middle of your water. Then I'm finishing up the edges of my waterscaping, and when I did that, so I didn't want to put anything there, just the end of my water, but when I saw this shape, I was so inspired to do kind of a little picnic area. And I was really inspired by the shape. I did not show it because it was a bit too long, but I closed the area so you could put like a picnic set over there. Then I skipped again because I just went over the whole shape to just go the other way of my my waterscaping, and I did some shade so it doesn't hurt and like super sharply, but just I know the cliff is doing that, but the water I wanted like some movement. And then you can see that here I had to go and waterscape and de-waterscape, I must say, my my build, because I had to extend my cliff to do the waterfall inside of my lake, river, kind of. So that is also a reason why you should put hop island. Then I skipped again because I was just rebuilding what I had already. I mean, re-waterscaping. And I'm doing my waterfalls. And must admit that I skipped a lot here because I was really badly aiming. And so the video is just like me aiming, building, debuilding, advancing, aiming, debuilding. I mean, it was really repetitive. But mainly you can see the shape of what I did. And now I'm gonna start adding some trees, bushes, flowers. Like always, I want something very natural, but it's also more important when you're doing a sunken forest waterfall. I already like a lot the cliffs and the waterfalls and everything falling all together. And also I'm putting a lot of design patterns of flowers to give a very natural touch to the final build. It's small details, but it's important in my opinion to pay attention to details. And I'm not gonna show everything, but mainly this is in this phase that I got stuck in the middle of water when I'm trying to add details on the other side, like the other Hop Hop Island. And yeah, I got stuck, so I had to call the service, as I was telling you earlier. So here I'm coming to add the little design and flowers and everything. And then I put it a little natural fence because I was not convinced with a bush. I wish I could have put a bamboo tree, but one tile isn't enough and I didn't want to have a bigger Hop Hop Island. And then I finished that and I jumped onto the picnic area where I started first to put a blanket, but then I realized I wanted to have a tree over there. So I started doing my tree and then picnic area. I downloaded this beautiful design of a blanket that is in diagonal and I love it. And I overlapped it with a design of a blanket that I already had before and used before, which I still love, but it's more natural blanket than a diagonal one, or at least I never saw the diagonal one before, not so long ago. So I absolutely love those layering of different custom designs. They were not made to be on top of each other, but I think it renders quite well. So I was really happy with that. And then I'm decorating with a little of bushes and flowers. And then I did not put some objects there yet because I'm gonna try to add first the nature and the plants and the trees and everything, because I think it's the main goal here is not to put objects, it's really to put nature, to feel surrounded by nature, almost untouched kind of area. So really that was my goal here first, and mostly plants, a lot of plants and a lot of custom designs that were linked to plants and nature. I also tried to mix bamboo trees because I saw in multiple videos from YouTuber that they mix the normal trees and the bamboo trees, and it looks adorable, but I never thought of doing it. I always like put my bamboos inside, but it looks quite adorable. And here I tried to play with this new, it's my first time using it, so I'm a bit struggling, but this new pro design we got with the little hole, because I downloaded one that had a little rabbit, but as you can see here, it looks like it's the cliff, like the cliff design, but then it has a little rabbit on the bottom. I'm not sure you can quite see it from the finished build, but I know it's there and it pleases me that it's there. So I really loved it and I really enjoyed using it. And then I'm finishing up my cliffs. And by trying to finish everything, I'm really stuck with my sapling being in the way. So I planted a peach tree to, in fact, eat the peaches and move the sapling. And it hurts, and I just realized there is like an apple tree on the bottom part, but it hurts because apple is my fruit and not peach, and peach brings more money. I mean, it's a game where the goal is to earn money, so you know, like eating those peaches instead of selling them, it hurts. But so yeah, I did that for the sake of this beautiful waterfall. And then I'm eating my peaches because I didn't learn my lesson to move the peach tree because I could not plant it in the correct position. And then I'm decorating the absolute top cliff with like a bush and bamboo tree and some flowers again and a bit of design patterns, of course. Later on, I tried to also use the grass design pattern. I will show it in a minute, but I also tried to use the grass design pattern on top of the grass. I was going for a new style, I guess, or something I haven't tried before. I'm a bit so about the rendering in the end, but it's okay. It's not the most perfect rendering, like grass on top of grass, but it's okay, I liked it and it contributed to the natural, untouched kind of vibe I was going for. And then I'm also planting as much as flowers as I can. I mean, not as I can, because you can see again, as always, I'm talking about my flowers, but you can see that I still have a lot, but I didn't want to mix too many colors together. And then here I'm putting a little tree to hide a bit the edge of my sunken waterfall forest, and I started decorating the little picnic area. This was the main place where I have objects, in fact, and the rest I have some bits and tips there, but mainly the objects are here. So I wanted to use a lot. I had a lot of picnic and food in my inventory. I guess like it is a sign of how much I am a foodie, because in Animal Crossing I have tons of food in my inventory. But then I limited myself to use only like the bamboo picnic set and then the blossom tree one, and then I wanted to use this one and it was too much, so I will use it probably later on another picnic or eating area. I guess I need multiple food area, you know, on my island, foodie island. You cannot change who you are. And then I'm trying to fill it here, and I've put a little magazine because I was thinking like between food and like sun, you just want to read a magazine and have like some shadows from this apple tree and read your magazine on these cozy blankets on the ground. So I was really vibing like how I would spend my perfect afternoon. And then I came back and finished up decorating some Hop Hop Islands because I've done like the natural part, but I also wanted to add some objects. And I added this little moss bowl. I don't really know the name about this one, but it's really cute. I like it and I forgot I had it, so yeah, I used it. And now I'm trying to put objects on the top cliff. So this one was really beautiful. It made me think of where the water can come from, and I know it's not that little, it's not even a pond, it's like a drop of water on a rock, but I was imagining like it is where the water all comes from on my island. Yeah, don't try to understand all the logic behind the scenes. And then I'm decorating a bit around. I did not want to put like too many flowers, like the same flowers and the same colors. I wanted to have some kind of link between the colors and the flowers, so I tried to mix and match, but not like all the same flowers and colors at the same place. At least I hope I managed to do a good job with that. And I was trying to where to put, like I knew what to put, but where to put them was another challenge. So I had this little rock that I again wanted to use, and then I had this this autumn object. I don't really know, like small sapling that I had and never knew how to use it. So I used it there, and I think it's quite beautiful, and it leaves the natural, like it stays in the natural theme. And here, as you can see, I'm adding this grass design pattern on top of the grass, as I was telling you. I mean, it's not shocking. It's not like perfect, but it's not also shocking. It adds a bit of contrast because it's way brighter than the grass in the game. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not 100% satisfied with it, but I also enjoy it because it adds a natural and contrast feel. Then I added this little bug model, and I wanted to move it, but then you cannot because it's one of those objects that are on the ground, and then you cannot select them and touch them anymore. So I was stuck there. And I'm still adding some flowers that I still had in my inventory to try and fill a bit the spots, and also to like really add on this natural vibe, not overgrown flowers, because by now you should know that I'm super scared of that apparently, but really like having a natural vibe. Also filling with like design patterns, because as I told you, I didn't want to have too many objects, but design patterns is a good way to fill the spots, to have an impression of fullness without having indeed objects everywhere. So I was doing that, really emptying my pockets of flowers and putting design patterns. And now I'm starting to work on this little side cliff. It was a bit difficult because it's really tiny space to do some decoration, but I managed with those natural fences. And then of course some flowers and design patterns everywhere. But I think in the end it renders really beautifully, and it's okay. I mean, from the picnic area view and from the shopping district center view, it renders pretty well. And I will extend the cliffs in a later build, not soon I think. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. And here is the view, the final product view from the shopping district. I know we cannot see too closely the details. I will try to get super closer as much as I can, because I closed a lot of areas. But here is here is a closer view of the picnic area, and Marshall is there to check out, and apparently he approves with me that the picnic area in this part of the build is at his liking. So he approved, he danced with me. And then here I'm touring like really the latest part, so the waterfalls, and I'm gonna try with the camera to move around and try to show you as much as possible the final part of the build. But I hope you like it, and if you do, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and see you in the next video. Bye!